Hey everyone, welcome back to Brown Coat Nerd. Today I'm not really bringing you a review, but rather I caught myself in a situation. I was surprised that I wasn't necessarily ill prepared, but well, I was definitely caught lacking a little bit. Um, and I realize a lot of you might be in the same situation that I am, and I kind of want to put this video out there to make you think whether or not you are in this situation. Now, the situation basically, this was last winter. Live in the Midwest, it got really bad this last winter, and they're having rolling blackouts. Basically, I don't know if it's just so many people using the heater is major energy consumption. Sometimes we'll see that in the summer, but I think it's the first time I've seen it during the winter. So they put out a warning, hey, we're going to have rolling blackouts. Your neighborhood might be without power for an hour, but then we restore it, yada, yada, yada. My neighborhood was hit. We lost power for an hour. Um, and I had my cell phone fully charged and ready to basically just keep myself entertained while we had no power. Um, but then I realized that, if my cell phone had died, wasn't working, was broke, whatever, and I needed to listen to, the news or get information, at that point I was completely cut off, other than like walking out to my car and using the radio in my car, because I started to look around and realized, I don't have a boombox anymore, so I don't have any radio on there. I do listen to the radio, but it's always in my car when I'm traveling. I'll usually listen to the radio, or I'll use an app on my phone for the radio, which obviously, if no phone, you can't use that, or no service, or if the internet is down, that will do you no good. And then I felt really stupid because, like I said, I live in the Midwest and we live in Tornado Alley. So it's not the most uncommon thing for us, in the warmer months, have a really nasty thunderstorm come through, lose power, and then you hear the tornado sirens. Um, that's not uncommon at all. And then I realized if I was in that situation, I couldn't listen to the radio to see exactly what is going on, because if we don't have power, TV's not going to be working. And let's just say, the cell phone towers or whatever got knocked down, or internet was down for whatever reason, I'd be cut off that way too. And when I was younger, as a kid, growing up in the 80s and 90s, that was never an issue. I mean, we had tons of radios. I was thinking about that, when I was a kid, I had a boom box that had a radio on it. We had a radio in the kitchen, or a tape deck in the kitchen that had a radio on it. I had an old boom box that the tape deck no longer worked, but the radio still worked, so that was thrown in the closet somewhere, so that could have even been pulled out. I remember too, back then you'd get like free little handheld radios if you renewed a subscription to a magazine or something. So, I think like my brother had a Sports Illustrated branded little radio. I remember my mother had some, and some of her junk drawers and stuff. So we had no shortage of radios if we had lost power and needed to get information some way back then. And then I'm looking at myself now, I'm like, this is stupid. I'm completely cut off. Now, before some of you start screaming at me in the comments saying I never should have been caught off guard, and what kind of a survivalist or prepper am I? Well, I'm neither of those. Now, if you look at my YouTube channel, you see I do a lot of reviews on guns, but I'm a collector and I enjoy the historical and history behind military surplus firearms. That doesn't mean I'm a survivalist or the other word I just used. um, yeah, I'm not ready for situations like that. I don't claim to be, but I think we all should be to a certain aspect. I was a Boy Scout once. Always be prepared. You don't want to be caught off guard, especially if you live in an area like I do, where Mother Nature is constantly trying to get at you. So I realized, I need to get a freaking radio. Now, this particular little guy I have out here is the Tecsun PL330. I'm not saying go out and buy this radio right now. I'm not saying this is your best option. There's definitely better options out there. You definitely want something that picks up the weather bands. They have some radios that can kind of be put into a standby mode, so they're basically turned off until they pick up something on that weather station. Then they turn on, and you're alerted to what's happening around you. So I definitely recommend, if you're just going to invest in one radio, have that be like a emergency radio. You're going to want to get one of those. Now they do range in prices widely from pretty darn cheap to pretty darn expensive. Just remember, typically when you're paying more, you're going to get a lot more features, and God forbid you should ever have to use it. But the more features, you're probably going to be better off. Once I get one of those, like I said, this is just something I grabbed recently just to have a radio. I do plan on doing a video on that as well. Some of the ones I've been looking at kind of have 3 power options, which is definitely the way you want to go to. You can plug it into the wall and use it that way. It will have a internal battery on there that you can recharge and use the batteries that are built into it. And it will also have a compartment for using standard batteries. So, you use up the charged battery, but you got a pack of AA's, just throw some AA's in there, and, you're back at listening to your number station or whatever. That's something I definitely recommend looking at. A lot of them will have solar panels. Just keep in mind those solar panels, from what I've seen, it's like a trickle charge. It's not going to charge it up really fast, or if you want to use it to charge up your cell phone, it's going to give your phone just enough juice to call 911. It's not like, you can just put your radiator out in the sun and then, be using your phone all day. And of course, a lot of them too also have hand cranks, which is another great option you would definitely want to have on there. So this guy is just a little kind of a basic radio. Well, not really a basic radio. It's got quite a bit going on in here. Like I said, this won't be a review on this radio. It's just to point out, this one only has an rechargeable, actually, cell phone battery on it. So this particular one, I just use it until the battery gets low, then I charge it. And I do not use it plugged in. The manual on this even said that can interfere with picking up the radio stations. So I just use the battery power and then charge it when it's low. This guy lasts quite a while before it needs another charge. And I'm not sure how quick it charges up, so I usually just plug it in before I go to bed, so I'm not really watching it. But just kind of want to put this video out there in case any of you guys are in my situation. And if you're looking around your home or apartment and you're like, crap, I don't have a radio either, you definitely want to get, at the very least, get just a standard radio. Like I said, this one's a little more than a standard radio. These are anywhere from like 60 to 80 bucks, I believe, on Amazon and eBay. This is actually a really good little standard radio, I guess you could say. So this one, just in case you're curious, it's got like a backlit display, which you can see a little bit better. That's just keeping the backlit display lit up. Got the volume turned down because, don't want to get hit for having unlicensed music on here. I think it's on listening to KRPS or something right now. But it's a nice little nifty radio. It's got lots of features. Has an alarm on here. It's got a sleep feature on here. The stuff you can get into the radio and sideband and all of that, that's beyond my knowledge. I am still learning that myself. Oh, I kept this on here for you guys. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm doing it good and slow. I know how to do this. All right. I'm glad that's off there. I was getting ready to peel it off, and I was like, I need to do a video, just make sure people have freaking radios. And I'll save it for that. So this is the box that came in. If you're wanting to get one of these, first of all, if you were like, okay, yeah, crap, dude, you're right, I need a radio now, tell me what radios to get. I'm not the guy for that. Looking around, there's actually quite a few YouTube channels that you can find with really good reviews. Now, one I particularly found, and I've watched several reviews, and for some reason I still watch his random reviews when they come out, even though it's on stuff I probably don't plan on buying. But definitely go check out Todderbert. I believe that's Todderbert. Might just be one D, I'm not sure. But he's got a lot of reviews on a whole plethora of different radios, from like $5 to, probably $100 and up. And this is a little dude. Speaking of Todderbert, he always compares his radios with a deck of Iron Man cards, which as a nerd I appreciate. But this is Brown Coat Nerd. We do military surplus. So it's a pretty small radio. I mean, that's an AR-20 round magazine. I mean, it's just a little bit bigger than that, which is kind of crazy. And just a hair thicker. So this is a pretty little handy dandy radio. It does have a built-in aerial here. And then you can also get these external antennas. This one's like 12 foot, I think, or something. Oops, sorry guys. It's got a little spot you can plug in here for your antenna. You got a headphone jack, and then that's your charging port. These Texans are pretty freaking popular, especially the PL330. You'll find a lot of these with Chinese writing on them. Those are like with the pre-production, and they have an older firmware on them. You are going to want to get a newer one because it has a newer firmware on it, I believe, or something. And there's a way here that you're able to check the firmware update, which I look like I'm doing completely wrong. Now, yeah, okay, so anyways, the firmware you cannot update on these, so if you have any chance at all, you want to get the newest one, so it has the newest firmware. And like I said, the newest ones are in English, and of course, you know, I'm sure a couple years from me putting out this video, they'll put out even newer ones with newer firmware. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff packed into this little radio. That was a little sticker that came off the front speaker there. Another easy way, if you're looking at the pictures, this will all be in Chinese if it's the older one. Also, I wanted a manual that was in English, because I'm one of those people that read the manual front to back. This one took some work getting through. And like I said, I'm still trying to figure out all the features. Also came with this disgusting feeling felt little pouch. The felt is not necessarily is disgusting. I am just one of those people that I cannot stand the feel of felt or like corduroy or anything. Ugh, what's wrong with you people? Just kind of wanted to put this out there. This is the particular one I got. I probably will not do a review on this. There are plenty of reviews on this by people that actually know about radios. So my review would be, you know, futile. Todderbert's got a review on this. So I'm not going to do a review. Just kind of want to put this out there, though. Make you guys look around your place. Do you have a radio? Or better yet, an all-weather radio? You know, especially if you're living on the coast where you might be dealing with hurricanes. In the Midwest where you're dealing with tornadoes. Or even on the West Coast where you're dealing with earthquakes. If you're in a situation really bad, you know, big one hits, you lose power. Trying to hear communications where, you know, if they have set up, you know, sites to go get water or food or whatever, you're going to need a way to communicate. Not even necessarily communicate, but just listen to the outside world. So I'm just putting this video out there to make sure you guys are prepared. You know, I'm not saying, you know, get in the prepper mode or, you know, anything like that. I'm not a prepper. I'm not a survivalist. But a simple freaking radio that I did not have. Like, I couldn't believe that. I was blown away at that fact. So went out there, got this. Like I said, I will eventually get a really good all-weather radio. There's two that I'm looking at right now. Those ones I might actually do a review on once I get them. But yeah, guys, you have a radio? Go get one. You can get something way cheaper than this too. Like this, you know, I got a really freaking nice one. But you can get just a basic radio to be able to listen to your local stations, you know, for like $15 or something, or even cheaper. You just want to make sure you got something so you're at least a little bit prepared. But yeah, that's really all I got. I think I've kicked this dead horse enough. So go check out Todderbert and his reviews on radios and enjoy listening to him sing the Iron Man theme song as he shows it off compared to a deck of cards. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this may have helped some of you. If not, well, then good job. You're prepared then. All right, stay safe, stay shiny.